Hey everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive.
Yeah.
This time we're diving into a pretty important piece of writing from American history,
Okay.
Thomas Paine's Common Sense.
Ah,
Now, we're going to be using excerpts and insights from another podcast called Page Turner to guide our deep dive today.
sounds good.
And our mission is to understand why this pamphlet from 1776 was so revolutionary and how it helped to spark the American Revolution.
I'm intrigued.
So one of the first things that struck me when I was going through the material
Mm-hmm.
was that Common Sense wasn't just some, dusty old historical document.
Yeah.
It was this incredibly powerful piece of persuasive writing
Right.
that was specifically designed to rally ordinary colonists to the cause of independence.
Like propaganda almost.
Kind of, yeah. And what's fascinating is how Paine managed to do this
Okay.
by using this raw and passionate language that made these complex political ideas
Yeah.
accessible to pretty much anyone, regardless of their background or education.
It really is remarkable how he managed to break down these complex concepts into something that everyday people could understand and relate to.
It is. It's like he took a megaphone to the streets and shouted, "Hey everyone, listen up. This is why independence is a good idea."
I love that analogy. It perfectly captures the spirit of Paine's writing. It was bold, it was direct, and it was aimed squarely at the hearts and minds of the common people.
Exactly. And that accessibility
Yeah.
was a huge reason why the pamphlet had such a widespread impact.
Absolutely. It wasn't just some academic treatise circulating among the elite. It was a call to action for everyone. But, he didn't stop at just making things easy to understand.
No.
He went full on radical,
He did.
advocating for ideas like government by the people
Mm-hmm.
and directly challenging the concept of monarchy, which was, pretty much considered treasonous at the time.
Right, like he was drawing up a blueprint for democracy
Yeah.
while simultaneously dismantling the existing power structure.
Exactly. It makes you wonder how anyone dared to publish it, let alone read it.
Well, I guess that's why they call it common sense, right?
Ah, I see what you did there.
But seriously, do you see any parallels between Paine's ideas and the political debates we see happening today?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the struggle for power, the debate over the role of government, the fight for individual rights. These are all themes that continue to echo through history.
It's like we're still grappling with some of the same fundamental questions that Paine was wrestling with over 2 centuries ago.
Yeah, it really makes you think, doesn't it? It's like some things never really change.
They don't. But you know what really struck me when I was reading through Common Sense?
Hmm.
It wasn't just that Paine argued for independence on, practical grounds.
Right.
He actually managed to make it a moral imperative.
Oh, absolutely. He brilliantly argued that remaining under British rule was actually morally wrong because of all the injustices of colonial policies and the constant warfare.
And all the bloodshed.
Yes. And what I find so compelling about that argument is that he's tapping into this idea that freedom isn't just about, convenience or economics or anything like that. It's about basic human dignity and the right to self-determination.
Which is something that everyone can connect with on some level.
Exactly. It's a universal human desire. And that's why I think that argument still resonates so strongly with us today. I mean, we see those same ideas popping up in various social and political movements all around the world.
It's true, and we can't forget about the timing of Common Sense,
Yeah.
right? I mean, it was published just a few months before the Declaration of Independence.
Talk about perfect timing.
Right. It basically went viral,
Right.
spreading like wildfire throughout the colonies.
It's incredible to think about. In an era without social media or the internet, this pamphlet managed to capture the hearts and minds of an entire nation.
And that really speaks to the power of Paine's words and the urgency of his message.
Yeah. Absolutely. Timing is everything. And Paine's work is a perfect example of how a well-crafted message delivered at the right moment can literally change the course of history.
So true. But you know what else I found interesting? Paine didn't just argue for independence. He systematically dismantled all the arguments against it.
That's right. He took them on one by one.
Like he tackled the fear that America couldn't survive without Britain head on,
Uh-huh.
by highlighting the colony's economic and geographic strengths.
And their potential for self-governance.
Yeah. I was really impressed by his approach to those counterarguments.
Oh, me too. He anticipated his opponent's points, and then meticulously refuted them one by one. It's a masterclass in argumentation.
It really is. But it's not just about the logic of his arguments. It's
No.
about the conviction behind his words.
The passion, the fire.
Yeah, like when you reach Paine's conclusion, it's not just some polite request for independence.
It's a demand.
It is. It's like he's saying, we deserve this. We're taking our freedom. There's no room for compromise in his tone.
None whatsoever.
He's demanding action. And you can't help but feel the energy and urgency in his words.
It's a stirring call to action that must have resonated deeply with those yearning for change. I mean, you can practically hear the crowds cheering as you read those final lines.
I could totally picture it.
Common sense wasn't just a piece of writing, it was a catalyst, a spark that ignited the flames of revolution.
It really makes you appreciate the power of words, doesn't it?
It does. Words have the power to inspire, to provoke, to change the world.
It makes you wonder, could a piece of writing have that same kind of impact in our modern digital age?
That's a great question.
Like we live in a world of instant information, and constant noise. Is there still room for a single voice to cut through the clutter and spark a revolution of thought?
It's hard to say. I mean, we're bombarded with so much information these days, it's hard to know what to believe, what to trust.
It is. But I think there's still something to be said for a well-crafted argument, a powerful story, a message that truly resonates with people.
I agree, and I think that's the enduring legacy of common sense. It shows us that words can indeed change the world if we choose them carefully and use them wisely.
Such an important reminder. Well, that just about wraps up our deep dive into Thomas Paine's Common Sense.
A truly revolutionary piece of writing.
It is, and something to ponder as we navigate our own complex world.
Indeed.
Until next time.
Bye, everyone.